All right, welcome back. So this is Team Charter video 2 of 2. So we were talking about when we left personal goals, individual commitment, about thinking about addressing those things now, yes? Are there other concerns too, right? So then we come down to conflict resolution, right? So some of these things we can kind of ward off, if you will, right? Or keep from getting or festering to a certain point, right? If you already know you're going to have perhaps less of a time commitment than you feel, or the other members are definitely have a different type of goal in mind, right? Personal goals, measurable team goals. If you feel already up here, if obviously getting an A might be one of the more broader team goals, but very specifically, it's about learning to present orally, work together, communication, how to research as a team, how to grow as a team, how to be successful as a team, or whatever some of these other goals might be. If you see already that those aren't matching up, then we need to be thinking about these down here. All right, so maybe that's another concern. I know not only my individual commitment, but I'm really not that concerned about getting an A. I just need to see, because I'm really all I'm concerned about is just skedaddling and getting out of here. Okay. So your other team members need to know that we don't want that to show up and bring their work down to those who may be wanting to do a little bit more. So that would be something we might want to put in there. Then hopefully when we get down here, right, into conflict resolution or missed deadlines or unacceptable work and things like that, we need to be, these perhaps probably need to, I know several of the teams have already submitted these, but these might be considered, need to be considered a little bit more verbose, perhaps, maybe as opposed to just bullet points of just saying, okay, we're going to meet, talk about it, whatever. We might need to be very specific into how's that going to be. We're going to hold a meeting. Everybody gets a chance to speak. Corey's going to be notified when. Miss deadlines. If you have someone in your group miss a deadline, this, if they miss so many deadlines or whatever, does that then could that potentially affect their grade, because now it's affecting everybody else? They're not pulling their weight. Right. Remember what Wolf says in here. We can address these things right now. They can need to be specific. Okay. So even if you feel like you've got the commitment and you've got all this other stuff, you still may have a situation where that isn't fleshed out just yet. So we need to think about how we're going to resolve some of these conflicts already, should these things arise. Okay, so we got to think about the main things, and we'll provide several examples of some of those. But some of the things that we think we really need to be talking about when it comes to conflict, or maybe I think missed deadlines is probably going to be, even because then the missed deadline creates conflict, right? So missed deadline, or even more, and kind of go hand in hand with unacceptable work. If there's one team member who is not only missing deadlines, but missing meetings, not pulling their weight, what do you do specifically, right? What can potentially happen that everyone in your group can agree on, that if one of you just decides to stop coming to meetings, not turning in quality work or meeting the same standards as everybody else, right? What's the resolution? Keep me in the loop, obviously, when something like that happens. But your team charter says something very, very, very specific. Like, okay, if that happens and everybody else has to pick up the slack and do your work for you, unless it's agreed upon ahead of time in your individual commitment, right, or something above, then there'll be a penalty for it, or there has to be some sort of understanding. We need to be can't try to make it as least vague as possible. Okay, so think about those things. Trying to think about being specific and think about being creative, right? You can say, okay, this is one meeting, right? If there's no notification of the team manager and everyone isn't notified ahead of time, they just skipping, right? You got to get. We also know that life happens, and sometimes we have to miss a meeting. But what is set up in place to handle these things? Okay. So think about those things. Try to be, I might push you, even the team charters I've already read, I push you this week to be even a little bit more specific and reevaluate conflict resolution, missed deadlines, unacceptable work, individual commitment. Let's spend this week kind of fleshing some of those out. Okay, guys? If you have any questions about any and all that, as you're putting them together, what can you do? What can you not do? Just let me know. All right, guys, stay safe, stay awesome.